What's up, y'all? This is Lewis Scott here, and it's time to learn. Coming up after I'm done talking, there's going to be a video. It's going to show you how to capitalize on the coin market bull opportunity of earning 1.2% a day. Now, there's an opportunity to earn 1.8%, but that's when the market turns around and it's in an upward trending. But as long as the market is trending down or trending sideways, we'll earn 1.2% a day. Now, utilizing this spreadsheet is going to teach you a strategy that's a 50-50 strategy, which means you take 50% of your profits and you reinvest 50% of your profits. That's going to allow you to take profits because you never lose money taking profits, and it's going to also allow for your account to continue to grow because you're reinvesting that other 50%. So I'm going to stop talking, watch the video, learn more, and click on the link in the description. It's going to take you to more information about Coin Market Bull. Once you click on the link, stroll to the Coin Market Bull section where you can learn more. After that, reach out to me. Let's grow together.
Hi guys, welcome to my video. This is a remake of an earlier video. I made the first version of this video back in January 2023. It's to do with analysing CMB. Many of you know that I analyse businesses in a number of different ways, part of which is to use a spreadsheet, which tells me about the profitability of the venture. So I made that earlier video and it's still good, it's still valid. You can still work your way through and figure out what the spreadsheet's doing. However, there have been a number of changes to the way we do things and the spreadsheet has changed quite dramatically. So I've been promising to redo this video and here it is. So this video relates to version 12 of what I refer to as my simple calculator. The simple calculator is available in all of the Telegram groups to do with CMB. And if not, ask your leader and I'll send them a copy. So that's it. Let's cut to the spreadsheet and take it from there. Okay, guys, so here we are on the spreadsheet. It's version 12. And the most important thing I use this for is for teaching people. I use it when I'm talking to people about CMB and why they should get involved. Very often I don't go through the corporate information about the commissions and everything else, or if I do, just very, very briefly, and then I come straight to the spreadsheet. It's a very powerful tool for getting people to understand what CMB is all about. I have done it. I have had it where I give out this spreadsheet to people and I say, once you've checked this out, come back to me and we'll discuss it. And they come back and they say, I've signed up, and I've signed up 3 people as well. And I just showed them the spreadsheet and everybody wants to get in. So it's a very, very powerful tool, but you need to understand it yourself. And more than that, you need to have the discipline to implement whatever it is you decide you're going to do based on the spreadsheet. Discipline is the key thing. So I have another version of this spreadsheet that I use for my own use. So I've got my own dates in here, I've got my own amounts in here, and I keep my total here up to date with whatever's in my CMB account. This is the version I use for just teaching people, and we show it on the Zoom calls. The Zoom calls are every Saturday and every Wednesday. And we take a few minutes to run through this spreadsheet because new people just love to see this. This is really the clincher on the deal. And I believe this is why so many people get into CMB and don't get out, even when they're a little bit disgruntled about the odd thing, they don't get out because of this spreadsheet, because it shows them that if they just persist, everything's going to come right in the end. So when I'm training somebody with this or showing somebody this, I reset the date to the 1st of January. Then I select an amount that they're going to deposit, and I talk to them about 1250. I'll show you why in a minute. 1250 is what we call the sweet spot. It can be more, it can be less, and like I say, I'll show you that in a minute. My golden rule for people putting money into CMB is never ever put in more money than you can afford to lose. If by putting some money in and losing it is going to cause you heartache, it's going to cause you grief, it's going to cause your wife to leave you or your husband to leave you, it's going to cause bankruptcy or chronic debt. It's going to put you in debt for the next 5 years. Don't do it. That's far too much money. You don't need to get started in CMB with that much money. Okay, so have a comfortable amount that you can afford to lose if everything goes wrong. When I say if everything goes wrong, I'm not necessarily talking about anything going wrong with CMB. It might. The company might make corporate decisions and decide to get rid of CMB and go do other things with its time and money. Companies make decisions based on their own needs and requirements every single day of the week. They don't really take into account our needs. But also, the regulators wouldn't be averse to closing CMB down because they are there not to not to protect the investors. They're there to protect the banking system and they're there to protect the institutional investors. They don't really like you and I making money from trading and from the crypto market. So they might come in and introduce some new rules. And over the years, there have been so many, literally hundreds of businesses that are doing very well, thank you very much. Then the regulators come in and change the rules, and all of a sudden that company is no longer viable and it closes down. People say, oh, they were a scam. No, they weren't. They were fine until the regulator came in and changed the rules. Of course, some of them are scams. You've got to look out for that as well. It could be the whole crypto industry implodes. It could be with the advent of government-backed digital currencies. They put an embargo on the currencies that we trade with, and therefore the whole thing doesn't work. It could be that there's a nuclear war, and all of a sudden the internet doesn't work, and so we can't predict anything. We need to protect ourselves. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with CMB or the company itself or the way we're generating money. What I'm saying is we have no control over that. So never put more money into anything than you can afford to lose. So having said that, one way of figuring out how much you want to put in is to think of a figure and put it into your calculator. So maybe it's $1,250. Multiply that by 1.415. Okay, and that's how much money your trading fund will be worth at the end of the first month. And if you hit equals, hit the equals button 11 more times, that's how much your trading fund will be worth at the end of the year, at the end of 12 months. Okay, so if you're happy with that figure, then that's probably the amount you should be putting into CMB. If you think that you would like to take advantage of that multiplication factor a bit more, then put a bit more money in. If you feel that that's too much money for you to risk, then put a bit less in. So here we go. So you've decided how much you're going to deposit. And with CMB, the first time you deposit and on the anniversary of that first deposit, when you make that deposit, the first $50 is taken out of your deposit and is used to activate the bot. So in this case, if you want 1250 into your trading fund, into your total deposits, then you deposit 1300, 50 goes to activate the bot, 1250 goes into your trading fund. So at the end of day one, you have $1,250 that's about to make you 1.2 to 1.8% tomorrow morning. So that's the 1.2 to 1.8%. We can set that to whatever figure we like. And when you get hold of the spreadsheet, you'll be amazed if you were to increase that to just 1.2%, how much of an impact that has on your earnings and your income. Now, put in here that we're going to lose 2.5% when we reinvest. There's a feature within CMB called reinvest. We didn't used to have it. We used to have to withdraw, and we pay a withdrawal fee of 5%, and then we would redeposit. There were some restrictions on that because the least you could redeposit was $50. Now it's the least that you can reinvest is $15, and it costs you 2.5%. However, at the time of making this video, and I don't know how much longer it's going to last, the company are not charging us anything for reinvestments. So here's our first strategy, and strategy is very, very important in trading or in any business, I would suggest, but particularly in this business. So I'm going to tell you what your first strategy should be. You can change it if you like. You haven't got to do what I suggest, but I think your first strategy should be to reinvest every time the accrued earnings is more than the minimum reinvestment amount of $15. So therefore, if they reduce the reinvestment amount to $10, then you change this strategy slightly. And if they increase it to $20, then you change this strategy to accommodate that. Okay, so this is the accrued earnings in this column here, column D. and every time that gets to $15, you reinvest. So we call this the sweet spot. 12.50 is the sweet spot. The reason is because on day 2, you're going to earn $15, which means on day 2, you can reinvest. So let me show you what would happen if you were to start this with $100. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with starting with $100. If that's all you can afford, then get started with $100. I was talking to somebody yesterday who got started with $50, and she's over the moon because it's the first program she's been in that her money's making more money, and she's overjoyed. Her trading fund has grown by 10 times, so her trading fund now is $500. Okay, but if you can start with $500, then you're 4 months ahead of where she started. So the challenge with starting with $100 is you only make $1.20 a day, which means that you need to save up for how many days is that? 13 days in order to get $15 in order to reinvest, in order to increase your fund. So all the time you're making $12 a day, your fund stays at $100. When you add back in that 1463, which at the moment, of course, because there's no fees, that will be $15, then you get your trading fund increases and it stays at that level until your next reinvestment. Well, now it takes you 11 days to save up $15 to reinvest. And again, that would be $15. So that would now be $130. Okay, and it stays at that level until you save up enough money to reinvest. So this is a great way of building up your fund. You've started with $100 and you, at the end of the year, okay, and I said that I said the 1st of January because it's an easy reference point to work your way back to. We can see that the 31st of December is exactly 1 year. So that $100 has turned into $6,470 trading power, trading fund. And that amount of money makes you $76 a day. Okay, if you were to carry on and increase this, I think by about another 18 days, you'll see something very interesting. Let's just do that. Okay, let's say to the end of January. Okay, so you started with $100 and now within 13 months you're actually making more than $100 a day. And in fact, by the 23rd of January next year, you're making $100 a day. So you started with $100, a one-off fee. Now you earn $100 every single day. That's pretty awesome, but that is the power of compounding. So now that you know that, wouldn't it make more sense if you could afford 110 or 120 or 130? Wouldn't it make more sense to put that much money in? And I'm going to show you now what happens. No, I won't. I'll go to something else because um, what I'm going to show you is that the challenge with this is all these gaps of days and days and days, weeks when you can't reinvest. Because yes, you've got growth in your trading fund, but what you're looking for is the point at which you get to trade to reinvest every single day. This point here now, starting with $100, it takes 8 months. Sorry, seven months, 10 days to get to that point. Okay, but now you're reinvesting every single day. And the reason this is exciting is because you achieve something called exponential growth. Up here, you've got, it's not quite linear growth, but it's slow growth. Here, you get exponential growth. And exponential growth means the rate at which your trading fund is increasing is increasing. So up here, your trading fund is increasing. Down here, the rate at which it's increasing is increasing. And if you look at this on a curve, it's a parabolic curve, and it shoots skyward very, very quickly at the point you start reinvesting every day. Now, it doesn't matter what you start with. At some point, you're going to end up with this reinvestment point, this exponential growth. It's just that with $100, it takes you 7 months, 10 days. If you start with $500, then you achieve that exponential growth within 2 months and 20 days. And if you start with $1,000, then you achieve that within 22 days. But the best one is if you start with 1250, because with 1250, you achieve that exponential growth starts on day 2, which is why we call it the sweet spot. So nobody's telling you what to do. I'm just pointing out mathematically, the smartest thing you can do is if you have to stretch yourself a little bit to get to 1250, do it. Now, some people will think nothing of putting 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 200,000 into this. That's fine if that, if you've got so much money that that's just you the way you roll, then that's great. Do that. You won't regret it, unless, of course, things go horribly wrong. Um, I said to a friend of mine who wanted to put $20,000 into this. I said that's a lot of money. He said, "Well, if I do lose it, I'd only pay it in taxes next year anyway. So if that's how he feels about his money, that's absolutely fine. But for most of us, we want to really minimize our risk, and I would say 1250. Most people can afford 1250 to get started in something that's going to produce the sort of results I'm going to talk about now. So you get this exponential growth on day one, as long as you then reinvest every single day. Let me show you what happens to that 1250 by the end of, let me go back and get rid of this. So we're talking about the 31st of December. Okay, so by the 31st of December, our 1250 has turned into $86,000, and that $86,000 is earning us $1,000 a day. How would you like to be earning $1,000 a day? Most people that earn $1,000 a day have massive skills that can be leveraged. Top rate barristers probably earn $1,000 a day. Top rate CEOs $1,000 a day. That's $360,000 a year. That's a significant amount of money. Okay, so you can achieve that by starting with 1250 and add some discipline. And I can't stress this enough. When you're back here and you're thinking, I'll put 1250 in, that's going to be making me $1,000 a day by the end of the year. But I've only earned $15. What do I do with that $15? The answer is you put it back in. You use the reinvest feature within CMB to put that money back in. If you think, well, oh, it's not going to make that much difference, then how many days are you going to miss before you start putting it back in? This figure is never going to increase until you increase your trading fund. Okay, so you've got to have the discipline. That's what I'm saying is you need the discipline. Because right at the very beginning, you'll be thinking, it's only $14. It won't make a huge difference. And I've got plenty of things I can use my that $14 for right now. Now, if that's a conscious decision you make, if that's what's in your strategy, then brilliant. But I suggest it probably isn't in your strategy to start taking the money out right from day one. It might be. That might be your strategy, and I'll show you how that can work in a minute as well. You can make a nice income from doing that, but you will delay your eventual growth and your eventual financial freedom by many, many, many months, maybe even years. Okay, so we look down here now. We're looking now for another strategy. Our first strategy is we're going to reinvest every time the accrued earnings are more than the minimum reinvestment amount of $15. So with this amount of money in, we achieve that on day two. So we start reinvesting every single day. We're going to keep that going for a while. And now we want a second strategy. What's going to change? It's like a break point or a waypoint where we say, we're going in this direction. Now I want to adopt a second direction. I want to go in a slightly different direction. And don't leave that to chance. Have that laid out from day one. And it might look something like, and I talk to a lot of people about strategies, and they say, I don't understand what you mean by strategies. So let me just give you a possible second strategy. I'm going to reinvest every single day until I achieve until my daily earnings are $100 a day. Now let's say $200 a day. So at $200 a day now, so that's the break point. That's the point I'm going to get to. So therefore, at $200 a day, I'm going to keep every third daily earning and reinvest the other two. So that's my strategy now. So I get to this point, 13th of August, I'm going to reinvest those two and I'm going to keep that one. So I just delete it so it doesn't get added back into the spreadsheet. I reinvest those two and I keep that one. I reinvest those two and I keep that one. I reinvest those two and I keep that one. I'm just going to do a few more just to labor the point a little bit. Okay. So now I'm keeping $200 a day. which means in a month I'm keeping $200 10 times. Okay, so it's 30 days in a month. 10 of those days I've kept $200. So therefore my income is $2,000. The great news is, so I have a business now that's producing me $2,000 a month. Okay, but I've also got a reinvestment strategy that means my fund is going to continue to grow. So here, just with these few days, you can see my fund has grown from 17 to 20. That means it's sustainable. I can continue to take that $2,000 a month forever. And in fact, even as I'm taking the money, my funds are increasing. Therefore, the amount I keep will increase. Eventually, it'll become 250, 300, 350, 400, 500, 600. Over a long enough period of time, this becomes a very large income, but my trading fund continues to grow. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to be shrinking the trading fund. We don't want to take so much money out that the trading fund doesn't grow. We certainly don't want to be taking the trading fund out. If we can, after 8 months of that money being there, we can start taking it out. You'd be crazy to do that, because what we're trying to do is to build up the trading fund so that we can build up the amount of money we get every day. I often refer to this as the goose. This is the goose, and these are the golden eggs. Okay, so if you feed the goose and you get the goose nice and fat, you get bigger and better golden eggs. And let's just have a look at what that does further down the road. And I'll just prepare this spreadsheet here. Okay, so let's look at this at the end of the year. So our goose is now $86,000, and our golden eggs are $1,000 a day. That's $30,000 a month by the end of the year. That's pretty awesome. So let me show you what would happen if you increase that. No, sorry, let me carry on with strategy. So you get that strategy and you think, okay, $2,000 a month, very nice, thank you very much. But you might say, I don't like that strategy. I want a better strategy. I want to make more money than that. So your strategy might be, and this might be your second strategy instead of the $200 a day, or it might be your third strategy after you've achieved the $200 a day. You say, well, when I get to $300 a day, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out 50-50. So I'm going to reinvest that one, and I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to reinvest that one and take that one, reinvest that one, take that one, reinvest that one, take that one. The principle is exactly the same. I just withdraw it and don't redeposit. And then when I'm going to reinvest, I just reinvest. So here you see I've taken out a number of, I've kept a number of daily earnings, but my trading fund has continued to grow. So that's good. Which means I'm going to get more money and more money in the future. But now I'm taking out $300 a day, 15 times a month, which is 4,500. Is that right? 15 times 3 is 45. There's $4,500 a month. Okay, so I've started with 1250. I'm taking out 4,500 a month by end of September. Now, I think that's a pretty good strategy. You choose your strategy, but what it does depend on is doing this. A lot of times people will say, well, I want to, I know I've got this strategy that I want to do later in the year, but way back here, I want to just take some of this money out. And if that's how you feel, do it. It's your money. But be aware that if you just take $200 out, well, I'll show you this. I will show you this. If you take out, for example, $200 too early, I'll show you and you'll be amazed. So here we are. You start with 1250 and your fund is worth 86,000 and you're making $1,000 a day. Let's suppose you say I want to take out $100 from somebody's birthday, say at the end of January. So I've got to save up $100. So I'm going to keep all of those. So I've just taken out $100 roughly, so that's probably about 180. So I've taken out $180 to buy them a present and take them out for a meal. What has that $180 done to my trading fund? I've lost $12,000 off the back end of my trading fund. I've lost $112 a day off the back end. So I've taken out $180 once, and I've lost $112 every single day. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, do it. Nobody's going to criticize you. It's your business. But if you have plans to have a large business, a large trading fund making you a lot of money, resist that urge. Like I say, if you planned it in, do it. But if it's a knee-jerk reaction, try to resist it. So let's just have a look at some other figures. If we were to start with $5,000, which a lot of people do, then by the end of the year, your trading fund is $345,000, and you're making $4,000 a day. So you started with $5,000 and you're making $4,000 a day, but it does require the discipline to reinvest every single day. And again, you could have a strategy. If you start with 5,000, you might say, well, when I'm making 3,000 a day, then I'm going to start taking out, I don't know, 1 in 4. So I'm going to take out 3,000 times 7, which is 21,000 a month to come out, but my trading fund would continue to grow at the rate of 21,000 a month. Okay, so you might do that. Now, to help with this second strategy, let's not do that. Let's go to something else. Another magic figure is 14,500. Okay, if we start with 14,500 and we reinvest out faithfully every single day, by the end of the year, our trading fund is $1 million, which means that we're making $11,000 a day. There's a lot of people would love to make $11,000 in a month. That would be a really nice income for a lot of people. And you can make $11,000 a day. In 2 days, you can make, or certainly in 3 days, you can make the average salary of a lot of people in North America, England, Europe. Okay, and even if you increase that to say 60,000, that's 6 days. That's within a week you can make your most people's annual salary by starting with 14,500. I know somebody who did that because they sold a truck and put 14,500 in because, and in fact I think they did it because they didn't believe that they've got $1 million. But when I checked with them, it turns out they're spot on track with these figures down the right hand side. Now, before I leave this spreadsheet, one other thing I want to say is that this is just the daily earnings from CMB. If you get some commissions as well, you can add, you want to add some back in, you can just add them there. Okay, so if you introduce somebody and they deposit 1,000, you get 100, then you can add it in, and then a bit later, so every day after that, if they're reinvesting, then if they're reinvesting, they'll make 1.2%. They'll make $120. You'll make $1.2. So every day after that, you'll be making $1.2, and you just keep adding it all in. Okay, so that's how to add back in your deposits if you want to. Also, if you decide you're not going to reinvest this, let's suppose you make some commissions of, I don't know, you make $200 commission, and you think that's 369 between them. I only want to reinvest $300. Then you just change that to 100, and now you've got with the 200, you've added in 300 to your trading fund. Okay, if you don't understand that, it doesn't matter. Just play with the spreadsheet when you get hold of it. It's really very easy to use. So I'm just going to repair this again. And we're going to go back to our 1,250. And I'm going to go on now to explain about incomes. We're almost done with this, but we talked here about, I was going here and I was deleting these and deleting that one and deleting that one and so on. There's an easier way of doing it. I've introduced this second tab here called monthly income calculator. So you work out your strategy, and your strategy might be, when I'm making $300 a month, I'm going to take half the money and reinvest half the money. So what I would do is go to here, where is it? 17th of September. On the 17th of September, I've got $25,124.83 in my trading fund. So I take those two figures and I put them across on my monthly income calculator. So that's the 17th of September, it's already there, and 25,124. So all I've done is applied my strategy to this spreadsheet and said, that's where I'm going to get to following when my income strategy kicks in, that's where I'm going to be. So then I put that starting point in here, and I'm going to get 1.2% per day. And I just leave it like that. Even if once in a while you get 1.6, 1.8, just leave it at 1.2 because it's a good indicator. I said my strategy was going to be 50-50. That means I keep half and reinvest half. So now what this is saying is on the 17th of September, we've only got 13 days left of September. And in that time, my trading fund of 25,000 earns me 4,200. I keep 2,100 and I reinvest 2,100. So my trading fund increases slightly. In October, that's my first full month, I earn 12,000. So I keep 6 and I reinvest 6. In November, it's 14, so I keep 7 and reinvest 7. In December, it's 18, so I keep 9 and I reinvest 9. I'm sure you can see how this works. Over this whole 2-year period, your trading fund would make you 5.7 million, and you can keep 2.8 and reinvest 2.8. So you feed the golden goose, but you also take some golden eggs. So that shows here as 2.8 million. And you might say, well, that's 2 years is a long time. I want to grab my money sooner. So all you would do is change your strategy here to say, I'm going to take out more. So maybe I'm going to take out 75% and only reinvest 25%. Will I make a lot more money? And the answer is no. If you notice here now, you've gone from 2.8 million to just 0.8 million. By taking money out too soon, you've robbed yourself of $2 million over the next 2 years. Okay, the reason being that you're keeping more than you're reinvesting every single month. You're keeping more than you're reinvesting. So over this period, then, the trading fund would have made 1.1 million. You would take out 832 and you would only have reinvested 277. The 832, don't get me wrong, that's 400,000 a year. That's, nobody would turn their nose up at that. That's a nice little income, but it could be so much more. You might say, well, okay, so I'm going to be more disciplined. Okay. And the thing I like about discipline, self-discipline particularly, is that it's exactly the same as investment. What we're saying with discipline, self-discipline, we're saying, I'm going to give up the use of this money now so that I can have more later. That's investment. It's exactly the same thing. Self-discipline equals investment. So therefore, delayed gratification is what I should be talking about. Delayed gratification equals investment. So if we say, well, I'm not going to delay my gratification, I'm going to grab the money now while it's there, you end up with less. But if you say, well, I'm going to change this strategy now to 2575, look at this figure. It's gone from 2.8 million to 7.6 million. You're going to get 3 times as much money by not taking as much money. Because you leave more money to grow the fund, then you end up with more money. Your trading fund actually makes 30 million over the next 2 years. You're taking out 7, but you've put 22 back into the pot. Now this is where it requires discipline, because you're thinking, if something happens with this or with the internet or with trading in general, with cryptocurrencies, with the world in general, if something happens to this, I'm losing 22 million. No, you're not. That 22 million isn't real until you take it out and put it in your pocket. And then, so therefore, the only real money on the table is that 7.6 million. Okay, so I can understand why some people would be saying, I want to take out more because we don't know what's going to happen down the road. Something might happen to us, or our ability to do things. So wouldn't it be nice to have that 22 million? But let's suppose we took that 22 million out. Okay, we now have nothing to produce us an income going forward. So you want to leave some in and take some out. And so that's what these strategies are all about. How much you're going to take out and how much you're going to leave in. And that's your call. That's up to you. What I would say is, once you make your decision, once you identify what strategy you want, stick with it until you make another decision. And so I say it like that because it shouldn't be a knee-jerk reaction. It should be something like you carry out an annual review and you say, okay, so this next year, my strategy is going to be 60-40, 40-60, 20-80, whatever it is. We've got this. We want to now buy this huge big villa. We're going to buy the villa in 12 months' time. So therefore, we need to do this with our strategy. But don't let it be a knee-jerk reaction. Make it something you've planned to do, and then so plan your work and work your plan. So that's all I wanted to talk about on the spreadsheet, and back to me in the studio. Hi guys, so that's the end of the video. The CMB analysis updated for May 2023. Hopefully you found it useful. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. If you're interested in CMB and you want to know how to get started, either go back to the person that referred you to this video or drop me a message in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. That just helps me get more coverage when I do produce these educational videos for businesses that I'm interested in that I analyze. So that's it, and good luck with your CMB business going forward. It's going to be a wild ride, so enjoy.